Go ahead, sir.
This question is for Kevin Manion. This is Pete McCall from AutoRacing1.com. Since you guys aren't in the chase field this year, does that kind of give you guys a little bit more freedom in what you're going to do in order to try and give yourself, put yourself in a position to win?
That is a good question. We definitely have been experimenting outside of our baseline setup the last couple weeks. Last week in California, this week. Something we're working on, just haven't perfected it yet. It did show great promise the other day. So it does definitely give you a little bit more freedom to experiment, make more riskier calls, fuel mileage, and so on and so forth. But it also gives us time at the shop to actually take a breath, and say, okay, we didn't make this chase. It's all right. It's hit, All right, now what do we got to do for the next 10 races to still race good but have a little bit of fun, because it's, as you all know, a very trying and stressful job, including yourself coming in here every week and in different venues. So just a breath of fresh air, and lining things up for 2011 maybe 10 weeks sooner than the guys in the chase that are concentrating on making a name for themselves at the end of the year.
Go ahead, Holly.
Holly Kane with AOL Sports. Jamie, do you guys kind of scratch your head a little bit and say, how do they always do this? With Jimmy Johnson, particularly tonight, coming back, they had a series of different things that they had to overcome, and yet he still extended his points lead. I mean, what do you other drivers think of that, and just how impressive is that to you, that always seems to happen for him?
Yeah, certainly what they have been able to do is remarkable. And this Jimmy has, those are all really good tracks for him. Actually every track seems to be a good track for him, but it seems like the final 10 races are just exceptional tracks for the 48 team. And you know what, they just do a better job, it seems like, than the other teams do. And it's amazing to me when they have an average car, how they're able to adjust on it and get the car better. The last couple of weeks, looking at the 48 car in Happy Hour, they have not been I didn't think they've been very fast. I didn't think the car looked like it had a lot of speed in it. It didn't look real consistent, but they still in the race are able to adjust on it. And, Jimmy's a really good driver and puts himself in a good position. And they just are able to always, seems like they make the right decision.
Go ahead, Mike, and then Jim. And then Bob and Marty.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. One for each of you. First for you, Bono. You put together a winning modified with Ryan Newman this year, too. Is having success in that series and in this series both just giving you an overall confidence as a crew chief that you're kind of doing this thing right? And for Jamie, you said you came in second to 600 and nothing less of winning was going to be good enough. You came in second at Talladega. When you go back in a couple weeks, is anything less than winning there going to be a disappointment, too?
As far as the ability, it takes great people in your organization and to win. It's just not a one-man band, but for winning in the modifieds, that's just fun for us. And I couldn't do it without Gary and Russell and a couple of the other guys and our sponsors. And as far as the Cup side, it's a total team effort. And the Indy win, we can chalk up Brian helping us a lot. They tire tested out there and Juan's the king there. So it takes a total team effort all around you, and you're only as good as the people you're working with and the drivers you got. But winning races gives you confidence no matter what. So it's a win-win for sure.
Go ahead, Jim.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Jamie, I know you weren't. You said it didn't really bother you all that much about not making the chase, considering everything you've accomplished this season. But when you look at what you've accomplished, how do you look at, or have you even started looking at next season? Does what you have already done get you really excited about starting off again next season, or do you try to still relish perhaps even some more wins before this season's over?
I really haven't thought about next year. Just working on the remainder of this season, and I don't know. I don't think you should put the cart in front of the horse. You take this 1 week at a time, and we have so many different kinds of racetracks coming up between like Martinsville next week and then Talladega, some 1.5 mile tracks, Phoenix. there's so much different stuff coming up that I really haven't put much thought into next season. I feel really good, obviously, about our mile and a half stuff. We've got a really good package for that, and like Bono said, we're testing some other stuff that's a fair amount different, and I think if we can get that to work, then that's probably going to be an advantage for us next season. So we are kind of working on that, but at the same time, we've got some stuff that really reliable stuff that does seem to have a lot of speed in it. So working on that right now.
Let's go Bob, Marty, Al, Brian, Dustin.
Bob Hocker, Scene Daily. Sorry, another question about next season. When are you going to be signed for next season, and what's the hang-up?
I can't remember Chip's exact answer, but I think it's when I'm ready to talk about that, I'll talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. We're really close on that. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's just that there's really not anything to discuss right now, and hopefully it'll all be done soon. And when that is, we can kind of talk about it then. But I'm not trying to be a butthole to you. I don't really have anything to say about it.
It's coming across like that.
Sorry. No, it's not at all. They're just, it's kind of a slow process to get all of that ironed out, and working on a multi-year deal with everybody. So, just have to wait until we get all that done. You can see Rod; he's on the left-hand side. If you'd like to ask any other questions.
Okay, let's go Al, Marty, Dustin.
Yeah, Jamie, Al Pierce from Auto Week. If you were in the chase, if you were there, and you were 155 points behind right now, would you think maybe it's over for me? If you were 155 behind
No,
with...
because Talladega still has to be run. And I think that the Talladega can take out 10 chasers. That's my opinion. So I think until you get through Talladega, then no. I think everybody's still in it.
Let's get a microphone back to Marty if we can. Andrew,
I'm sorry, I have one. I'm just doing something else. Jamie, again, congratulations. I'm going to discuss this year quickly. You have had one hell of a year. What is the best moment of your year?
For me, I think the last lap at Indy, because even though it's just different at Indy, that's a race that every team puts so much work into, and not that they don't all the other races, and not that it's not the Daytona 500, but Indy is just one of those races that's in the middle of the year, and everyone puts so much work into it to build this beautiful race car, and there's so much extra little detail that goes into that, and everybody wants to win that race. You just always hear everybody talk about that. And it takes 50 seconds to go around there, and the last 50 seconds at Indy was probably just one of the coolest things ever for me to savor that and know that it's going to happen.
Go ahead, Dustin, and then Brian.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. Jamie, as people say that a lot of times a driver will get too much of the blame when things aren't going well, and maybe a little bit too much of the credit when things are going well. For as strong as a season that you've had, are you really that different of a driver from last season or 2 years ago, or how are you different if you think you are?
No, I really don't think I'm any different. I just am in the right situation, and certainly Bono and Randall and Kevin, everybody there. I mean, we just have a very good working relationship, and I get asked the question a lot of what's different here versus Roush. And I would tell you that I've been asked that a lot, and I never really had an answer for it. But I have thought about it a lot, and I think the difference is that we don't run the same stuff as the 42 car. And it doesn't matter what they have. We do what we feel is right for our team. And we stray away from maybe what they have every once in a while, and we do what's best for us. And that wasn't something that you could really do at Roush. You had to kind of stay within the bubble or not get out of the box, because if you did, you got chastised after the race. So we just do what's right for us, and I think that's what makes the biggest difference.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian Nelson, Motor Racing Network, and on the heels of what Jamie just said, Bono, as a four-car team, Ganassi struggled a bit to find that success, but this year perhaps the best year in Ganassi's NASCAR history as a two-car team. What's different now than just a year or two ago?
I can only speak for the last couple of years, from the merger, but I think 2 teams is not bad. You know, 4. Sometimes you get 4. You know, I guess I can only relate it to like kids. I have 1 child. If I had 2, man, I don't know what I would do. You know what I mean? But the 2 teams, they really work good together. Brian and I have a great working relationship. We've been friends since the nationwide days, and we raced hard there. And I think our teams are just they really get along. It's a small number, you know, going from the 4-car team and then going down to 3 and then going down to 2. You obviously have to lay people off, unfortunately, and get smaller. But when you get smaller, you also get leaner, you know, and you can hand choose your guys you want and your teams, and you put your best people in the best positions and you let them do their job. That's one thing that I noticed about Chip's organization is he has a person for every job, and he lets them people do them jobs and do them to their best ability. And I think everything at Chip's shop right now is working, and it's working correctly. And engineering is I tell Chip this: engineering is a little dysfunctional, but it works tremendously good. You know what I mean? So I think just the 2-car team works for us better than 4. Less people goofing off, and you know, it's right under your nose. You know exactly what's happening.
Any other questions?
Solid question asking, I thought.
It was very good. Congratulations tonight on the victory. Like we've documented, you've had a super year. Thank you.